So I've shared all these examples of scary stories. So now the question is, what can you do? How can we help? And what can you do at the business level to help defend and protect yourself against ransomware? So unfortunately, if you're impacted by ransomware, if you were to come into the office and you were to see that pop-up that I showed earlier with a message telling you that you were a victim of a ransomware attack, there's very little that you can do with respect to accessing that data at this time. It's been encrypted, it's no longer readable or legible, and truly, unless you have the decryption key, there's not much you can do. So what we recommend is making sure that you have regular and trustworthy data backups. The reason this is important is because if you have a copy of your data, then whatever the criminals have encrypted doesn't matter, because you can just back up to the most recent save of your data and you can keep moving. Now, you will most likely see a temporary outage while you're trying to spin up your data, but with proper backups and proper protocols, that interruption is minimal. So some questions that you're definitely going to want to ask about your backups, because like I said, they need to be trustworthy as well, is going to be how often are backups happening. So for instance, our solution, we work with a company called Datto, and it will take screenshots of the data across the network every 15 minutes. So you need to determine at the business level, how often do you need to be backing up your data? How much data are you willing to lose in the event of an incident? And I mean, that impacts things even larger than just ransomware. Things like equipment failure, accidentally deleting files, all kinds of human errors that this type of a thing can help you avoid. So the second question is going to be, when is the last time your backups were tested? So oftentimes, and this is a terrible situation if you face it, you're going to be impacted by some type of an incident, and we'll be okay, we have backups, but you're not regularly testing them, or the firm that you're using isn't regularly testing them. So then when it comes time to back up to your most recent data point, you find that the backups had been failing, or there was some type of a glitch, and you actually don't have a backup that you can restore to. So you definitely want to make sure that you're asking when the last time these were tested, just to make sure that things are up and running well. Third, where is the data being stored? So there's a variety of different options available when it comes to data backups. And what I'm talking about here is going to be the physical location of your data. So we recommend that you have an on-site backup device that also backs up to the cloud. And the reason for this is because by having cloud backups available, you're able to avoid any type of a physical incident that might damage, let's say, your servers or anything of that nature. I mean, heaven forbid a natural disaster hits and the entire office is flooded, that would impact the physical devices on site. So you want to make sure you've got off-site storage, and the cloud is a nice secure way to do that. And I mean, that's what we would definitely recommend. So then finally, can your business keep running while your team works through the issue? Because like I said at the beginning of this, no matter what happens when it comes to ransomware, you can anticipate that there's going to be at least a slight interruption with respect to your ability to connect to your data. So these are the conversations that you really want to have with your vendors and internally to kind of figure out, okay, if we were down, how long can we truly afford to be down, and how do we, with ourselves and our vendors, figure out a plan so that we can achieve that time? For some businesses, it might be minutes, hours, days, but those are things that you want to make sure that you're discussing internally, and then also coming to your vendors and asking them if they can help you and support you in that way. So that's all related to data backups and disaster recovery, because that's going to be what you're going to want to have in place so that if you were impacted by ransomware, if ransomware got on your network, if you have good backups and you have a good backup and disaster recovery plan, you're going to be okay.